Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is kind of good. Yeah, I said it. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 has somewhat of a negative reputation in the Five Nights at Freddy's community. The general points being, while the lore in this game is some of the best in this series, this game is a lot slower and definitely on the easy side compared to the others. It's not scary, it's not challenging, and I mean, it's kinda true. This is definitely one of the easier games in the series. But in my opinion, there's a lot this game does right and a lot of things hidden beneath the surface that make this game actually good. So let's talk about it. Now, in any Five Nights at Freddy's game, the main thing that I look out for is how well the gameplay flows. A lot of people hate this game's main gameplay loop because they find it really boring and really easy to pull off. And I can agree it is rather easy, especially if you know what you're doing. However, I rather enjoy the simplicity. It makes the moments where something doesn't go right feel much more tense. When you try to lure Springtrap but it doesn't work, then all of a sudden you lose sight of him. I love how hard it is to see him on the cameras. And I honestly love the concept and design of the location. The idea of a horror attraction based around the mystery of the first few games is incredible. And having the phone guy be a hip surfer dude bro is hilarious to me. Even the vintage audio tapes with the original phone guy works so well for this game. Now, one thing I did notice is this is the only Five Nights at Freddy's game that doesn't tell you how to play. Every other game has at least some form of instruction, either from Phone Guy or like in Five Nights at Freddy's 4 where it has instruction cards on the first night. Now, for a horror game, I can understand that it makes the game a lot more scary if you don't know what to do, and it can definitely cause tension and be rewarding if you do figure out what to do. But after a while, it can become rather irritating if you keep dying to the same shit over and over again because you don't know what to do. Obviously, the concept of an audio lure isn't super hard to understand, but still, I remember Night 1 being so confusing and having Night 2 be a clusterfuck that I only survived because of luck. Night 3, I finally figured out what to do because my friend told me. So I have to deduct points for there being a lack of instruction in this game. But once you do figure it out, is the gameplay engaging? Is it fun? Is it stressful? Well, kind of. So the main gameplay works like this. Unlike the other games, you only have one character that can actually end your night. That being our boy, the Golden Bunny, Springtrapped in a Suit Man Purple Guy 2.0, or more commonly known as Springtrap. If you use an audio lure on a camera next to the one Springtrap is in, he will move to that camera. You can also seal off separate vent cameras to prevent him from crawling through and instantly killing you. However, using audio lures, looking at the camera, and closing vents causes the system to experience errors, which you have to reboot using a maintenance panel on the other side of the room. However, due to the building's ventilation system, you will experience hallucinations in the form of the phantom animatronics. If you look at any of them for too long, they will jump scare you and cause you to experience a ventilation error, except for Mangle, who gives you an audio error. When you experience a ventilation error, Springtrap becomes more aggressive and if not shut down, will quickly kill you. So that's everything to say about the general gameplay. Now, do I enjoy it? Personally, yes, I do. This is one of the few Five Nights at Freddy's games that if you're skilled enough, you can survive through pretty much anything. In fact, some people have beaten this game without fixing any of the errors. I'm looking at you, Chicken Ninja 42. But this game is great because it forces you to pay attention to everything and plan ahead. Every time you fix an error, you have to listen for Springtrap moving. Did he enter a vent? Acting fast is essential in this game, and if you get jump scared by a phantom, you better not forget where Springtrap was and find him quickly. He's hard to see on the cameras, so you better be paying attention. In terms of a horror game, the lack of information creates tension very quickly if you forget where he is. Now, I can understand that there are moments in this gameplay loop that can create a period of you doing absolutely nothing because Springtrap decides not to move and all that, and there being times where I don't do anything. The first 3 nights are a bit of a joke, but the rest of the game makes up for that in my opinion. And then comes what happens the first time you beat this game. You get the bad ending. How the fuck do you get the good ending? Well, throughout the game, you are given clues through post-night cutscenes, and if deciphered, take you to secret minigames, where if completed correctly, you can get the happiest day ending. One of the most beautiful moments in the entire series. Now let's talk about the main character this game introduced and how his character was so important to the lore. Springtrap. Springtrap is easily one of the most popular characters in the Five Nights at Freddy's series, and for good reason. There's so much mystery behind him which we want to explore. Why is he rotting? Why does he look like there's a person inside? He's definitely more intelligent, so much so that he's the only threat you have to deal with because he's enough to cause you trouble. Through the cutscenes, we find out that Springtrap is the purple guy or William Afton. Also, I got caught out my last video by talking about the lore of the first 4 games and talking about William Afton, forgetting he isn't mentioned until Sister Location, so oops. Anyways, purple guy, who is regarded as the child killer, is trapped inside the Spring Bonnie suit, which is a spring lock suit, which is a concept. What the fuck, who would actually wear these? But like in FNAF 1, they seem real enough that we don't actually question it. This is the last Five Nights at Freddy's game that can be planted in reality, and it still somewhat fits in. Even Five Nights at Freddy's 4 suffers from the dream concept, which I didn't talk about then because I felt it would have ruined the positive outlook I had on that video. But anyways, Purple Guy was crushed with the Spring Bonnie suit after the ghosts of the children he killed confronted him. He tried to scare them using the suit he wore when he took their lives, but it took his instead. Well, it should have, but it didn't. And now 30 years later, he returns to exact his revenge and prevent his victims from moving on. And as the player, we must set them free and burn this place to the ground with Springtrap inside. It's a fitting end for sure. Pfft, never mind. Also, fun fact, this game is meant to be set in 2023, so I guess we can live in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 now. This game is definitely a bit of a departure from the first 2, but I think it fits in very nicely. It's a great game in my opinion, and as a horror game, it actually does quite a good job. The atmosphere is at least B or A tier for this franchise. The way you hear Springtrap walking through the hallways, how the ambience picks up when he gets closer, the ventilation alarms blaring with your faded vision, and yes, the jump scares aren't nearly as good as the others, but the fact that you can get one at any time if you click on the wrong camera, and that if you don't react quickly, Springtrap will get you, you still feel on edge. In my opinion, this is one of the better games to come out of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, and it's my 3rd favourite, only being topped by Five Nights at Freddy's 4 and Five Nights at Freddy's 1. And of course, if you disagree with me, that's totally fine, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to share it with your friend to keep the discussion going, and if you enjoyed this video, please double check the subscribe button. Anyways, have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.